Everyone, my name is Casey Crutchfield and welcome to episode 15 of Enjoy Life. Before we get started here today, please like and subscribe and don't forget to leave a comment. Today we have my guest. He does many things, commercial real estate developer, owner of Rox's, and just started his new business, Ory Law Group. My man, Mr. Matthew Ory, how you doing?
Good, man.
Good. Thank you so much for coming through. I'm really excited to talk. You have your foot in everything nowadays, so it's great to hear, someone your age looking up to you to kind of hear about your own business ventures. So
Pleasure to be here, man.
thank you. So just to kind of start off early, why don't you tell me about your early childhood and what it was like?
Yeah, I grew up in Thibodaux, went to St. Joseph's Elementary.
Same here. Go Jaguars.
Go Jags. But went to E.D. White, ended up finishing law school at Loyola, and took my career back to Thibodaux.
Okay.
So not too much in between. Played ball at Nichols, played baseball, and then was a basketball, football, baseball guy at E.D. White.
And what year was that you were playing baseball at Nichols?
Nichols, I think, was 2000 to 2003, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. How was the team at that time?
Man, I got to observe a lot from the bench. I should be able to tell you. We were good, man. Nichols is a big ballpark, so
Yeah.
we had some really talented players. It's just kind of like the story every year. I think pitching, it has to be so deep, and we had some good arms there. But you get into that grind of a season, we just weren't probably as deep as most people, and yeah, that's kind of the story of what we had. We had a great year this past year at Nichols, but play with some talented guys for sure.
Yeah. And so immediately after that, you went to Loyola.
Yeah, law school.
And so what was that like going through law school?
It was
Is it as hard as everyone says?
It's just a culture shock, man. You get there and you realize this is about to be life for 3 years. And I wasn't a big auditory learner, meaning most of what I learned was by myself.
Yeah.
Much rather isolate myself for hours upon hours, learn that way, grind through it, and get past it. But it was challenging, no question about it. I'm glad it's over. I don't know if I could do it again, to be honest with you.
And I just kind of want to backtrack a little bit. Did you have a favorite baseball team?
Baseball team?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Braves. Chipper Jones was my guy.
Really? Okay, my parents are big Braves fans.
Yeah.
My brother, he actually has season tickets. He's big Braves fan.
Yeah, Chipper was the man.
Yeah, that's what they say.
The whole room was decorated with Chipper Jones everywhere. Lefty, righty, he switched it. He was great.
Yeah. But just kind of moving on, so you go back to Thibodaux. So tell me, what was the first thing you did at Thibodaux right when you got back?
I started my law career working with a lady in Houma, Jerry Smitko. Still friends with her today. She was great. And then branched off on my own pretty quickly with David Ordwin. We had started AMO Trial Lawyers.
Okay.
And then along with Dr. Carson McEwen, it got bigger and bigger. Dr. McEwen ended up retiring a couple of years ago. In the meantime, AMO title was, the spawn of AMO title. We're taking that statewide since we're in Lafayette, Alexandria, Houma, Thibodaux, Morgan City. Possibly a plan for another parish coming soon. And then just recently started my own law firm, branched off from AMO Trial Lawyers. I still retain all of AMO title and doing my own thing on the law side now, just because I want to get a little bit. My life's just different. No wife, no kids. So I'm very mobile and I'm all over the place.
So do you oversee all those AMOs?
Yeah.
Okay.
All the AMO titles, and now we'll oversee all of Ory Law Group, wherever they're strategically placed throughout Louisiana.
And so tell me about kind of like the difference between AMO and Ory Law Group for those who don't know.
Yeah, so AMO title, which is a completely different entity from the Ory Law Group, a different entity from AMO Trial Lawyers. AMO title, you purchase a house such as this one, which we did the closing on. Beautiful, by the way. We're running a background check on this house, essentially. We're making sure the title's clean. But it is a different staff. It's a different protocol. The whole model's different.
Mm-hmm.
The law side of things, on the Ory Law Group side, we will be focusing on injury work, specifically car accident work, premise liability. Basically anytime that you've gotten anyone's been injured, we can assist. A lot of criminal defense work as well, insurance claims. That's going to be our focus. So injury work, insurance claims, criminal defense.
And so tell me about kind of like that balance, because obviously, doing both of those, covering all that territory, what is that like?
you got to stay mobile. I've been accused by many of, people can't comprehend how I can live like I do, just the mobility aspect of it and bouncing and bouncing and bouncing. And, every day you wake up, it's just boom, 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 boom. Today it was 4 closings early and then a 2 and a 3 o'clock in Homa, and then meeting with Coach Sadler at 4, meeting with Quinn at 5, and then here at 6, and I'll finish up tonight at 8:30. But that's pretty standard one way or the other. It starts around 5:30 in the morning, and then it ends somewhere around 10 at night, and very little. Man, I used to be a sports junkie. I couldn't tell you what's going on with anything right now. If anything, I'll follow locally. Obviously, we just made a major commitment to the basketball program as well, so that'll be exciting this year.
Yeah.
But if it's not local or LSU or UL, I don't even.
It's
crazy how that's evolved to what I used to pay attention to where my fundamental focus is now, and I don't pay attention to it anymore.
Do you think that's kind of like helped you in a sense of like business aspect, like not paying attention to that and kind of putting your energy more towards other things?
Yeah, it just naturally evolves, and you don't. Deer hunting and spectral trout fishing are a major component of my life at a level I'm obsessed about for years and years and years. And in the last 2 years, it's been very difficult for me to watch how what's taken precedence in my life for good reason. And that'll come back soon enough, but it frustrates me sometimes that I don't enjoy what I used to as much because my focus is just completely business driven at this point in time. Every move I make is calculated. And it's got to be to sustain and keep my sanity throughout this journey.
And as far as like staff, how much do you have as a staff for both of those companies?
No, we're running over 12 people now. With soon, I'll be adding 2 or 3 more here very, very soon. So we'll be running over 15 minimum, probably 16 within the next 2 months total, just in those 2 organizations.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, you're always staying busy. What do you do to like kind of, I know you say you keep your foot on the gas a lot, but is there anything like that you kind of, even if it's just like a little 10-minute break or something, like kind of to...
Yeah, I mean, honestly, a lot of times with my driving, there is no music, there's nothing. And that's when I do all my thinking, all my inspirational motivation, or whatever you want to call it, generally comes from a vehicle. Spend a lot of time when I can get out on my tractor. I could sit out there for days. I mean, half the time I get to the deer camp and my truck door doesn't even close. I'm off to the bowl and grab that tractor and I'm off. And when I put those ear pods on, the world kind of becomes silent to me, and I can reassess, and I'm not thinking and processing as much. I'm literally just doing something that I thoroughly enjoy doing, which is cultivating deer ground and mindless activity.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my getaway now. Other than that, there is none. It is constantly brewing.
Yeah.
Constantly.
And so where did you kind of get that drive? Like, have you always had that since you were little, or like,
yeah, I mean,
something kind of spark?
No, I mean, I grew up with a dad. To this day, my dad's 85 years old. He's a doctor. He's still practicing 4.5 days a week. That should tell you all you need to know.
Yeah.
I know every day what time he gets up to the second. I know what time he's going to leave the house. I know what he eats. I've never seen him eat fast food. I don't see him drink a Diet Coke. None of that. Mm-hmm. So the discipline aspect of that certainly comes from him. He's just a hard worker. Always has been. So I didn't know any other way.
Yeah.
But it changed for me. My hard work at first was dominating the speckled trout world or dominating the whitetail deer hunting world, where it was me against this particular deer I locked in on. The chances of him beating me, were probably better in my favor of me winning that battle. But the focus changed, the energy, the discipline has changed over. It just slowly evolved to where this is now precedence over that. Still a major component of my life, still something I love thoroughly, but it's got to take a little bit of a backseat to what I'm trying to accomplish right now.
And what would be your advice to like someone my age who wants to get involved and what, obviously, like I said, you're in a lot of businesses and stuff. What would be your advice to them?
Well, I was at a seminar in Atlanta the other day, and it's so many, you see a lot of these inspirational quotes, and some things hit home, some don't. But the old adage is like, if you really, really, really want something and you work that hard, it truly happens. And doing things the right way, never do something this way because it costs a little less. If that's not the proper way to do it, then don't do it at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can't half-ass something and expect good results. If you want quality coworkers, pay them what they're worth. You know, don't. You know what you'll get if you want to pay minimum wage and you're expecting a polished gym. There's plenty capable people that are going to be rock stars that make minimum wage now. But if you want to have to put in the time to have to groom that person to become what you want them to become, you got to be willing to pay people what they're worth.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, do things the right way. As fundamental as that sounds, it's really true. If you half-ass something, that's what it's going to be. And if you want that to reflect it, you know, at one of my commercial centers here where Big Mike's and Jimmy John's is, you can go ride by it anytime you want. It's always going to be clean. It's always going to be edged. The lights are always going to be properly working. It's going to be pressure washed. The parking lot's going to be painted properly. That's stuff I can control, right? And if I don't, then that makes me lazy. That's why my brother's name's on the center, but I like to hold myself accountable to know that somebody will know if that place looks terrible, if I can do my part, I want to be held accountable. And the biggest thing I can tell someone, I hope they have that mindset if they're young, bet on yourself. I'm not interested in betting on a board of directors in China. I want to bet on me.
Yeah.
All day long. I don't mean that in an arrogant way. I mean that as in I will make sure I will do whatever it takes to achieve the result that I'm looking for. Whatever extent that is, it's either going to be success or I'm going to die. It's that simple. There is no middle ground. I will never accept middle ground. And if you don't have that mentality, maybe entrepreneurship is not the path that you're looking for. Doesn't mean it's the wrong path, but you got to be willing to go places mentally that you have never been before. You think something's hard, triple that. You know what I mean? It's just crazy how many people aren't willing to put in the work and they don't know the sacrifice of the grind. They have no idea what it's like to bounce from 6 or 7 cities within 3 days and try and be in 5 places at once.
Yeah.
Go do that for a few weeks. See how that works out. Some people are cut out for it. Some are not. But just prepare yourself to bet on you and to go somewhere you've never been before. Your mind just overcomes everything. When you think you're tired, find that inspiration, find that why of what you're doing, and you dig a little bit deeper, and all of a sudden that turns into 10 more minutes on a treadmill or another hour at the office, or it pushes me when I get home. I remember last week I had an event. We get home at I think it was 6 o'clock from Lafayette, and they had an event at 7:30 that started in Houma.
Mm-hmm.
You think that I really wanted to hurry up, change, and get there after the last 3 days of, whatever it had been. But then I just think about one particular reason as to why. And it doesn't really matter what that is, but that's what motivates me. And guess what I did? Took a shower, changed, off I go. And never underestimate the power of networking. You got to network. You got to get out there. You can choose to watch YouTube all day long. You can do that. You can sit inside, and some people will find their niche and they can do that in their solitude and make all the money in the world. But that's not the vast majority. The power is in the people, in knowing the people and being genuine, get to know them, get in the community.
Yeah.
I'm constantly, if I meet someone new every day, I've accomplished my goal. Every day, that should be your goal. Meet someone new. And you'd be surprised how quickly your network grows because you don't know. The more you involve yourself with other people, the more opportunity that arises. How many people I've met at a closing table? I've subsequently been into business with people that I met for the first time at a closing table or wherever that may have been. But that's my advice: is bet on yourself and prepare yourself mentally to torture yourself. And if you're willing to do that, you'll be successful.
I think that's some great advice, actually. And before I touch on your businesses in particular, I also wanted to ask this because I feel like this is a common, people always ask this a lot. Do you think that you actually have to go to college necessarily or own?
And look, I'm not one against or for the higher institution. That's not the point of that question.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't want to bash anyone.
Some of the smartest people, you got to define smartness, number one, if that's even a word, or define intelligence in so many different ways. To me, intelligence could be a guy who doesn't even have a 8th grade education, but that sucker can build a boat from ground up. That's intelligence. And that's a craft, right?
Mm-hmm.
College is great. Everything I learned is from getting beat up on. That's how I learned. College was just a stepping stone for me to go to law school, which was then a stepping stone to go to law. Even law school doesn't teach you about the practice of law. It certainly doesn't teach you how to run a business.
Yeah.
can't teach you business principles. It can't teach you little bitty things that, or these, I like to call them microisms that you learn throughout the way, throughout your journey, that ultimately end up being more beneficial than anything else. And it always results in getting punched in the face. Mm-hmm. And then you learn that lesson. You're like, man, school didn't teach me that one. No, it didn't teach you that one. Doing it teaches you that.
Yeah. So real world experiences.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I had a jury trial, remember, a month into practicing law. Nobody sat with me. I just hopped in the jury trial in Franklin. And I don't know if I could spell jury at the time, but God willing, I said, I'm not backing down from anybody.
Yeah.
We're going to do this. And sure enough, we do it. It was 3 counts of cruelty to a juvenile, and they come back with 2 counts of not guilty. So this girl goes from an offer of 20 years in prison to ultimately serving 6 months. And at the time, I think I lost, right? I'm an all or nothing proposition. I don't realize in the criminal defense world, just a responsive verdict is a gigantic win. You know what I mean? Much less 2 not guilties. When you charge in 3 different counts and 2 are not guilty, and you minimize the risk from 20 years to 6 months. I don't remember walking out like I lost, but that's my mentality.
That's the mentality you need.
That's how I am. I don't accept that. And to this day, I'm like, well, what happened on the third one?
Yeah. Well, I get rid of 2.
What was that all about? But looking back, it was a great lesson, and I had no idea what I was doing, but I did it.
Yeah, and that's great.
I kept doing it. But that's how you learn, man. You get in there and you brawl. Mm-hmm. That's the best. That's the educational tool that you can have. Do it.
I don't know if you can exactly share this, but do you have a memorable moment specifically, like while doing that, or
in that specific trial, or in
just like in general?
Yeah, I had a.
I don't want to get you in trouble.
No, that's not true. You can't get me in trouble. But I was in a murder trial in Terrebonne Parish. Ultimately, I got a not guilty verdict from my client. Mm-hmm. And I remember in that trial, I can't quote on this, but it was the number may be off. But I remember cross-examining the detectives, and I asked them something to the effect of, was this investigation not important to you? And his answer to me was, well, we had 9 other murder investigations going on. And I remember I said, oh, so this one just wasn't that important. Uh-huh. No further questions. They acquitted this girl. There's probably a couple more witnesses who have the trial, and we were asked, they deliberate, and they acquitted in less than an hour. But I'll never forget that line of questioning where at the very end, it's like that aha moment. You look back, wait, did you really just say that? You said that you were basically busy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, she's charged with murder here, and you didn't find it appropriate to properly investigate. Got it. Thank you. We're good. How could you say this? And the guy, they're good detectives. The crazy part is, the truth of the matter is, he wasn't lying. And he wasn't trying to slight anyone by any stretch. They were run thin, and he was very transparent. You got to appreciate him for his honesty, but that wasn't the best answer you could probably give in a murder trial.
Probably could word it a little bit different.
Yeah, I'm sure my law partner and I, former law partner David Ryan, we had some serious, we could go back and forth about some interesting moments in trial where you're like, damn, that just happened?
So it really is
like, counseling, like, who's going to take care of this? And he's like, get out of my way, I want it. No. But
so it really is like kind of intense in the
kind of intense. Hell yeah, it's intense.
It's about the preparation.
Yeah, you go into these things, you prepare for a long time. And when you get into the moment of truth, the week flies by. Generally, I'll wake up at 5 o'clock. Probably sometimes if it's that first morning, after jury, so we select a jury. So before opening statement, if that morning is Tuesday morning, whether it's Wednesday morning, that's when I really start getting up at probably 3:30. And I start rolling everything in my head. And then you try the case for the day. You get out at 5, you run home, you eat, and that goes on till about 11 or 12, at least for me.
Okay.
Well, then you keep going throughout the week. Next morning, you're probably waking up at 4:30, because even if you want to sleep, you're thinking about it, you're processing, you can't. Let me tell you how you feel on that Friday or 5 days later. You can get a not guilty verdict or get a guilty verdict. You can get a large jury verdict where they're awarding a ton of money. Your feelings are gone. You're exhausted to a level that I mean, every time you finish, goddamn, how many more of these do I have left in me? And then you regroup and you do it again. But it is very intense because that's the only time in the world I can ignore that phone. To me, that client's got to have all your attention that week.
Yeah.
So when you're in the middle of a trial, it's almost like you excuse yourself to, you don't feel so bad about maybe not calling a client back until 2 days later. And your staff understands to instruct people. They're in a jury trial. They're working pretty much 24/7, but they will be in touch Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah.
And 99% of people
understand.
Yeah. And if they're not, they have a good reason not to be. And they're not pissed at you. You just got to take care of it. Step aside what you're doing and get back into it. But it's usually not a problem. But that is your pure 1 1/2 focus for the week. It's wild. It's intense.
It does sound intense. Actually,
I get all jacked up. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to battle. I'm not there to lose.
Yeah. So, what would be like your record all time?
Oh, I have no idea. We've tried a lot of cases, but we've won a lot. And I'll be honest with you, we've been successful, and it's been a good journey with those guys. And it's gonna be exciting to do my own thing too.
Yeah,
but
I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, me too. I honestly can't sleep. It's all I think about.
Mm-hmm.
All I think about.
Like I said off camera, you kind of catch me as a guy who like will wake up, start scribbling, thinking of something like in the middle of the night. Yeah,
you have no idea. No.
But kind of moving on. So before we get to the bar, tell me about Walkons and Smalls.
Walkons and Homo was that's how I got into the commercial real estate world. My buddy Dustin Marlborough, myself, and Josh Sun bought the land there, built the building. To this day, we still own it. Those guys still lease from us there. I learned so many things there. One of the fundamental principles I learned, I was always so intimidated by debt. I hated it. I'd scrap my way to paying off my tuition for law school quickly. I didn't like it. But Dustin had instilled in me it's okay if a quality someone or tenant or entity is servicing that debt, all of a sudden that's not a bad thing at all.
Yeah.
So you just have to learn how to leverage it and appreciate it. But when others are servicing that debt, we can do this all day long. You just got to structure things properly to make sure that I's are dotted, T's are crossed. But you can't be scared of debt. You just got to be smart about it. I'm not talking about personal credit cards. I'm not talking about buying cars. I'm talking about debt that is
as far as like business. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because that principal reduction every month on top of the cash flow is a real thing. And then there's appreciation. Look what we've done in Arkansas with cash flow reforms. I mean, I was one of the OG investors in cash flow reforms. And it's just been an incredible principle that's been in something that we all love. And we had to figure out a way to make money hunting because we did it so much.
Yeah.
And that was the spawn of cash reform. And started buying property and flipping it, and it appreciated wildly. But it's been a hell of a ride.
And so when did you know it was really to bring Walkons to Sativo?
I didn't. So Walkons to Sativo is a whole different group.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that is a different franchisee. And I think in that particular one, at the time, the franchisee was the landowner as well as the franchisee of the Walkons, and that subsequently sold, but I'm not sure to who. But they packaged that deal up on the front end and sold it.
Okay. Yep. So then we can speak on the Smalls. So how was that?
So Smalls is different. So now, instead on the landlord side, like Walk-Ons, we're the actual franchisees. Some, for instance, we just closed on our second lot, Lafayette. Our first Lafayette location is doing really well. So by STM on Ambassador. The second one is on Congress and Bertrand, right near campus. We're in the bidding process now. My partner literally just called before I walked in the door to select the contractor that we're going to use. We're going to move in dirt there in a few weeks. Loans already funded. We're ready to go. So that's exciting, but that being on the franchisee world is totally different. We just acquired the Ascension Parish area, so we have Prairieville, Gonzales now as well. And then we have to build Homa next is in the chain. So once Lafayette's complete, we got to move to Homa. And that'll be it for us, for our group. So that will put, I'm sorry, then we have one more in Lafayette that we have to build after, which could be Karen Crow when it's all said and done.
Are y'all restricted to a certain amount?
Yeah, so territory-wise, you acquire territories. And for instance, Lafourche is one store, Terrebonne is one store, Lafayette Parish is 3 stores, Ascension Parish 2 stores. That's set by corporate, they're headquartered in Atlanta now as well. But totally different where you're informed of the decision-making process, and Dustin's our lead in that whole group. So, and that's how it's got to be. You can't have too many cooks in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more of a capital investor in that group than I would be active in there. The difference is on the bid side, Dustin, myself, and our other buddy Kyle, we bought the land. So then our franchisee group is going to lease from us for the second Lafayette location. So I'm involved on that side because there's way more skin in the game because of the land. We own the land of the building in that one.
Mm-hmm.
We lease on Ambassador.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, I mean, I remember people have different schools of thought. You know, Cash is King and Ruffin Rodri, before he passed away, I was speaking to him about Rufino's, and he told me, he said, man, it's kind of a different mindset. Some look at leasing as a negative, where I look at it as a dollar for dollar deduction, and also way more cash to put into the next one. In other words, instead of Rufino's, take that, for instance, in Lafayette, and I'm only hypothetically speaking at this point.
Yeah.
But that's got to be a pretty costly venture, right? So you can put all your capital into that. The problem with that could be, not saying it is, it could be that now your capital's in that place. So the contrary to that would be, maybe we lease that ground and now we can deploy capital in many other cities and open them more, and lease from other people. Both schools of thought work. It just depends on what your model is going to be. Do you want to expand? Well, then you're not going to buy everything you see. You're going to lease a lot. But if you only want 2 Rufinos, well then, hey, get your 2 locations, own them, and you're good. I think what he was referencing to me was just, if he wanted to expand, probably would have leased if he did it a second time. But not saying he had made the wrong decision, just he was comparing that to some ventures that we were in.
Yeah.
So it's neat to hear his pros and cons of leasing versus owning.
Now, just a curious question before we get into the bar. If you had a certain like restaurant franchise that you'd want to bring into Thibodeau, what would it be?
Oh,
Put you on the spot right there?
Yeah, I got to think about this because Chick-fil-A, what a monster, right? That's already here.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know of any other franchises that I'm looking at that. Oh, I'm certainly not actively looking at any franchises, but if I were, there's not anything that stands out. I will say that Smalls, we learned so much from the Thibodeau location, right? But the brand as a whole has exploded in that world. And I mean, absolutely exploded. They've sold over 150 territories. It's blowing up all over.
Yeah, it feels like they're building everywhere.
Well,
and they were building one.
It's neat to watch what they're doing. You're going to see some different store power people that are starting to pick up these franchises. You'll see announced later. Maybe Major League Baseball players, NFL guys that are going to build that brand. I mean, obviously Drew Brees. I think they're being very smart about how they're going to use. Very strategic on the future branding and who they're going to allow to do it. So we'll grind through it, and as the brand grows, then locations get better. And in that world, you're going to have A stores, B stores, C stores, D stores. That's not, you can't hit a home run on every store. Some people may think, oh man, Thibodeau's slow, and then the others are Lafayette is killing it.
Yeah.
Sure. But as you look at it as a whole, you don't look at it as one store. You look at it as one big functioning juggernaut. And at the end of the day, the numbers are the numbers. So you can't judge it by one location.
Yeah.
And they're all different. And staffing them is always different too. Your demographic there. Some territories just have better quality employees than other. Some are better than others. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
But it's reflective of the brand for sure.
And so moving on, so tell me about the bar and tell me what got you first involved in it.
So the bar, most people that know me, my brother was a major inspiration in my life. And obviously he passed away several years ago, but he managed Murphy's and Fred's for years and years and years.
Really?
Oh yeah. He almost bought Red Eye in New Orleans. He was super close. He ends up getting sick. Long story short, he loved that industry. I always said that if he loved Rocco, they always stayed close for years and years and years. And he always told me, he said, I would buy that place in a heartbeat. And that's just, he was a very free spirit and meant for that lifestyle. Well, randomly, I had gotten a Facebook message, which is odd enough because I don't interact all that much on Facebook. And it was Rocco, and I knew exactly what it was. He just said, give me a buzz. And we started the conversation. And I looked at it as a way to, I love where the real estate direction was going. I'd started heavily investing in downtown Thibodeau at that time.
You had already had your thing across from the ammo?
No, that was after. I was picking up buildings and flipping them. I'd renovate them, flip them, renovate them, flip them. And I really, for me in Thibodeau, I am very, very hell-bent that between Jackson and Canal should be the feature of Thibodeau, right?
Mm-hmm.
The bayou side of Jackson and Canal, all cool places you see. I mean, look, San Antonio, look at Venice, Italy. You can go on and on. Water is a very
Like a river walk.
correct. That's our version of it, and it's coming. And I've been on the front end of that because I've been hustling to work for like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years now, seeing that vision, trying to implement it. But when that came along, the real estate play there was obviously important to me. I love the location where it sits. You couldn't ask me for a better location downtown. And then I bought the building behind it, tore it down, which is what we're about to get into on the addition. So it just came about from Rocco contacting me, and after that, the deal was done pretty quickly, and we're moving forward. And now watching transpire what 3 years ago we initially talked about.
Yeah. And so as far as like you said, you own the building behind. So how far does that exactly stretch out? Because, you know, like they have the little like tri-corner space right there. Do you own that middle part?
So it's funny you say that. I actually am donating that to the city in the next week or two.
Okay.
The triangle that you're referring to that goes and runs along where Tordo's Barbershop was, the insurance agency, which is part of the Roxas building. That whole street, as well as that triangle you're referring to, is what I'm donating to the city. The city's going to turn around and do a pavilion there.
Okay.
Some really cool stuff's coming. We worked hard to get a lot of money allocated. Brian Fino, house rep, Tanner McGee those two fellas played a giant role in that.
Okay.
So gave them renderings, they hustled it up, and the legislature decided they were going to give a significant allocation to a downtown park. Well, you guys are going to see that transpire soon in conjunction with the back expansion. So it all fell into place, but we had to put in the work to hustle to get that money allocated and to make what I believe in 2025 early is going to be a game changer. It's going to change the whole landscape as you've ever known downtown Thibodeau.
And so I'm just trying to get like an idea of what you want to do for the back. Is the way I'd like compare it to, because the way I'd like imagine it, does it almost look like the outside of like La Casa condo?
No.
Is that what you want? I'm sorry if I don't.
It's more of a little bit more nostalgia, I guess.
Okay.
I love greenery. I love old wood. I love bricks. I love gravel. And I know it sounds crazy, and I love lighting. It sounds very simple, right? But in conjunction with a beer garden, and which has made TVs everywhere. If you've been in Long Island, yeah, it's the same.
That's a nice place too.
Yard Goat and Lafayette, same ownership. That's exactly what I'm mimicking, just on a smaller scale.
Okay.
And it was ironic because I was planning that. Then I go to these different places, and then you can see what these guys have done. You're like, damn, that's really cool. And start implementing some things that they have done to bring it here. And obviously, we're on a smaller scale, but it's the same principle. And we're set up to where, like this week, they're putting in the grease traps. So food trucks will be able to come in and out.
Okay.
And use different vendors if we choose to go that route. But obviously, we're bringing food down there. I'm working with a company right now for automated beer taps. You know, that's probably the direction we're headed to with Tordo's old barbershop, that location, that space. So that's really the one thing I haven't finalized, which is okay. That part I have time. The construction starting in the back. We're blowing out the back wall. That's going to be a bar that services the back, the outside as well. And then you'll be just a killer game day atmosphere that have nothing like it around here. And it's going to be very difficult to replicate.
Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah.
So just kind of moving on, what would you say is a positive and a negative with owning a bar?
The positives are the ability to network. Once again, you can brand nonstop throughout there. When you see the beer garden, everything you see there will have my logo on it. Any of my other companies, right? Because now I can outsource the cups to one of my own companies, meaning the bar's not paying for them, I am. And they go straight to the bar, but you're marketing for other ventures. The downside is always the concern with people. I mean, you can be as proactive as you want. We literally, I mean, we're not shy about this. I'll fire somebody on the spot if we just did it. You got to constantly keep changing. We have state-of-the-art now technology. I call it state-of-the-art, but it's true. It's never been had before for our scanners, to where I can flag someone, Quinn, on accident, by the way. We got that rehab, but you can flag someone. I just had this happen the other day. I was livid. Somebody came with a fake ID, and it was a real ID, and it was good. I don't know the way to put it. It looked damn near just like them. What they don't know is what I've done is track down who it was that gave this individual that ID. They're now banned from Roxas for life, and they have no idea yet. But the next time that card is ever used there to scan in, it's flagged, and you're never coming in that door. And the underage who tried to use that card to get in, he'll never walk in that door again, ever in his life. And that's as long as I own it. I'm not going to tolerate that.
Yeah, because obviously that's something that can hurt your...
Yeah, man. I mean, you're as proactive as you can, but you can't always... You can not serve someone who's not of age. You can't control what happens when they buy it and, 4 rows down, somebody gets a drink. So that's what I worry about. And we are very cop friendly. I just hired detail that I want there every Friday and Saturday. I want law enforcement as a friend, not an enemy. Yeah, they know that. They're always welcome there. They do a good job. That's why.
Yeah, it always seems like on a Saturday
they should be, and we love it. I paid them extra detail. I want them in there. I want them as a presence at the door, because if that deters one person from using a fake ID there, I've done my job, and I can sleep better at night.
Mm-hmm. And it just keeps the area safe.
It does, and that
people feel more comfortable.
How many fights have you seen in Roxas recently?
Not that many.
You don't see them. It's very non-existent. They have way more in our day.
Yeah.
But we've installed all of our security cameras. It's a different day and age to manage a bar.
Yeah, there's so much technology out there. There's like to where you cannot use it as your.
That's right. And I'll stay ahead of that game nonstop. We'll keep doing it. The more people you ban for life, the less and less it's going to be inclined to happen. You're going to wait your turn to come in.
Yeah.
But, it's got its benefits and its downfalls, but awesome manager there, awesome staff. They're a pleasure to be around, but all in all, we've really had very few problems if you really look at it as a whole. So we're just going to keep getting better. And I'm still learning that business, you know what I mean? And now I'm excited about it because of the addition. And now I'll lock in, and now the staff's probably going to see this whole other side of me. Like, I like it the old way.
And do you want to keep it open to everyone outside? Or
so what outside is going to be 21 and over until probably 11 o'clock at night.
Okay.
Probably is the direction we're going.
Any reasons?
I just want a place to go where older people, there's a lot less headache with 21 and over, to be quite honest with you. And it is what it is. I have no problem saying that. We got some awesome young kids that come in, very respectful. Different day and age right now, too, because everything they do is being monitored by their parents, which is awesome for us.
Yeah,
I can honestly say how many times they come in there and I'm checking making sure there's designated drivers. And I'm not talking about for someone 21. I'm talking about 21 and older. But they're so much more responsible this day and age than I feel like 20 years ago you were. And it's because of technology. They know that every move they make is being monitored. But that's why in the back, we want to go 21 and older. We want to invite a whole other demographic to Roxas, which we'll be able to capture from 11 a.m. on a game day.
Because not that many people over 21 are going to stay really past 11.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
And let them have their time. You're not losing anything. They're not coming to 11 anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the point, before? But we have to work that out. That's just things that you evolve with, because you also want to place someone, if they have their 8-year-old kid on a Saturday to watch a game, that they could sit down. So you struggle with those things that have to iron out. But right now, the direction is that. But it will be pet friendly. I certainly want to encourage people to bring their dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I've always had a dog, and I'm just a fan of that. So,
what favorite type of dog?
Man, I love hunting with my lab and boxers. I've had some good ones.
Okay.
They're just cool. Of course, every breed, you got a story about.
Yeah.
Terrence, the crazy boxer. But you also got Marco, like my boxer, who's not interested in moving the whole day.
And just lazy.
It's awesome.
Complete opposite of you, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And then poor Chuck, my lab, he kind of goes everywhere with me. So he'll show up in Alexandria one day, he'll show up in Lafayette. He's just, where I go, he goes.
Yeah.
The other one's so easy. People love taking him. Like, I'll take Mark. I'll take him. Give him to me. Like, you can't have him. But my mom, I love him too. So he's always over there. So.
But kind of moving on about the bar. So what would you like to see besides a beer garden, let's say 5 years from now?
At a bar?
Mm-hmm.
So I think what you're going to see there is, like we talked about before, you're going to watch what the city's going to do, and it's outside the front door. I mean, I'm donating to them. These guys, we got the money allocated. Let them run with it. What I really think you're going to see there is more boat traffic in there. I think you're going to, I think you're going to end up seeing another docking station right there, that so people can go enjoy the Goose and go enjoy Peppers, Renee's, Roxas, whatever venture may be down there. You're going to see that one day, and it's going to be within the next 5 years. That's coming. You just got to build this incrementally, and there's a lot of interest in downtown right now that other people don't know about by private capital. You know, there's I've been in the meetings.
Yeah.
So I know what's going on down there, and you run through some turmoil right now, but it's getting better and better and better, and it will continue. My buddy Jamie Bootery, they're bringing a cool concept called Oscars. I wouldn't call it rendering. I saw his vision board, and it was nice.
Really?
It is a cool place.
It's another bar.
Yeah, but 21 and older. But and I don't want to speak for Mr.
Yeah,
but I think that his crowd is more of almost my age.
Okay.
I shouldn't even say that. I'm more of a business casual crowd, if you will.
Yeah.
From what I gather,
like maybe like an after work party, or you're hosting like an after work event. I'm not saying your bar isn't capable of doing that.
No, his is better suited. I mean, it's a place where you'd want to have a cool party. Yeah, I mean, like we're partying in our bar.
Yeah.
There's you're probably conducting business, and it's a good thing. But it is super nice. I think it's gonna be a great venue that people can rent out for private events. It'd be tough to beat it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that too. And I don't competition. I hate when people say that. It just makes you better. You can bring 800 more lawyers into town. I could absolutely care less. Let's get better. Who's gonna outlast me? And if you can, good for you. If you outwork me, you deserve it.
Kind of like a Coke and Pepsi thing. Almost.
Yeah, I mean, look, you need competition. We need more food downtown. Another bar. The more the merrier. Let's go.
I know you mentioned Peppers. We're big Peppers fans in this house. We make the drive to Houma. What is it coming back?
I've talked to Grady a lot, but I will not. I'm not going to throw him out there like that. What I will tell you is this: the man is a hell of an operator. I've gotten the pleasure to know him pretty well the last couple of years. He's an impressive human. If you had ever sat down with him, you want to talk to somebody, you want to talk X's and O's.
He's your guy.
I shouldn't even be in the same conversation when he and I are talking. I'm kind of like, wow, I feel really foolish. But he's a great operator. It's in the right hands. I know what he's doing there, and it's awesome.
Okay,
enjoy the wait. Patience, my friend. It's going to be cool.
Patience is a virtue.
It's coming.
I'll ask this, and this doesn't really ask about a time. I'm going to be in grad school the next 2.5 years at Nichols. Will I be having to make that drive those whole 2.5 years?
Oh, if you're going to kill me, I will say no. I will say no. Absolutely not.
That doesn't give away much.
It doesn't. And I don't have any insight over Grady works very quietly. I think it's so cool. When he strikes, but he is methodical. And that's why, man, loose lips sink ships. That's a great piece of advice for people. Is loose lips sink ships. Walk in silence, you know what I mean? And just let your actions speak louder than your words.
Yeah.
And, let the man do what he's going to do, but what he does, just look at it.
He's got it going on.
It's got to be done right.
Everything, yeah.
You know how many times people ask me, I'm sorry, Grady, we're talking about this podcast, but how many times have I been asked, what are they doing on the last call? My answer's simple. Thank God it's in his hands. Because I don't know what he's doing with it. I just know whatever it is, we'll all be pleased. I can promise you that.
Yeah.
Best answer I can give. When that is, no idea. What it is, no idea. I'm very comfortable with whose hands it's in. And that, believe me, I look at that stuff. I have ownership interest in buildings downtown. I want to know who's doing what. I see what the deterrents are. I see what the positives are as well. He's a major positive. I hope he's my neighbor everywhere we go.
And that'd be a great, another bar possibly. Who knows? I'm not going to hint. I'm not going to. But all I'm saying is I do want 6-piece Parmesan twists and large honey baked wings. I'm tired of going to home, but that's all I'm going to say with it.
Yep.
But besides the bars, besides everything, I ask you this. What do you see yourself in 5 years looking like? Personally, personal goals?
Man, I hope that in 5 years I've learned I feel like on the with AMO title, I've learned how to scale business in that process where it's getting better and better, more refined. I'm drilling down on principles now.
Yeah.
that's my hope now. In 5 years, the law group is throughout the state. There are multiple associates that are working with me, and I can manage this thing from afar. The whole key to business is, I guess if you ask yourself, could you sell this business? And if the answer is yes, you've done something right. Can you step away and still sell a business?
Yeah.
And if you've done that, that means it's firing without you, which forever you think that can't happen, right? But that's not true. That absolutely can happen. So that's my goal in my later 40s would be to say, I have grinded my ass off. You know what I mean? I can't go any harder than I'm going.
Yeah.
But I've learned how to run it properly, goal-wise. I'm not saying I have. My hope is to learn how to run it properly. Not saying I would be from afar, with the hope that if something happened to me or if I was afar, it still functions properly. That to me would define success and what I'm trying to find. And with that success could hopefully come some peace of mind. Because my biggest fear in life is that it's going to blow by and I look back, I'm like, damn, I just missed the whole thing. Because I always want more. Not as a greed thing, not to show.
Just always got to chase something.
I'm always chasing something. And I don't want to have that feeling, in my as I get older, I'm like, damn, what were you chasing?
Yeah.
What even was that? But I think now my vision's never been clear. I've never been more laser focused. And, like I told you, for me, it's either success or die. There's no in between. I promise you, I'll either be successful with this or you will not see me anymore. Because it doesn't matter what it takes me. I will put myself through whatever gauntlet I have to get where I want to get. There is no negotiation with me.
Yeah.
I'm not negotiating with myself. So, that's just my mindset, man.
Yeah.
I'm a big.
You think you'll be like your dad, still being active in your
100%.
And
it's getting worse the older I get.
Yeah.
You think when I go to finally go to the deer camp this week, I literally pressure wash from, 6:30 in the morning until 7 at night. But I had to finish that day because my time is so limited to get there. When I do get there, I got all my plots in the summer. But when my next step's there, we're getting ready for the season. So I don't want any cabin issues popping up. I want all that done. So when we start bringing people out there, it's done the way I want it done.
Right.
It says a lot about people, the way you keep yourself, in check. I tell people all the time, tips that you don't need to wear fancy shoes or clothes, but they can fit right. You can clean them. Cleaning them don't cost you anything. You clean them yourself. You can get a suit. You can make sure that it's hemmed properly. Your presentation is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter about a value. It's just how you care enough about yourself, present yourself to the public. If I'm expecting someone who gets injured in an accident to represent them on a 7-figure case, the least I can do is at least start the conversation by looking the part.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not too much to ask for someone who's attempting to, or at least deciding if they're going to retain you for your services.
No, I definitely understand.
It's I'm telling you, man, people don't abide by those principles very much.
But besides that, I think we had some great insight today. So I'm kind of gonna roll into my last question. Not gonna keep you too long, but why do you enjoy life?
The chase, man, the thrill. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I cannot get enough of it. I love building brands. I love putting myself up on the line to know that it's me against them. And if I'm going to fail, it's on me. I don't want to blame anybody else. I want to look at myself in the mirror and say, you could have done more. And the older I've gotten, that chase has gotten worse and worse and worse. And I'm just determined. I'm full of grit there's no backing down. Like I said, there's no negotiating with myself. Mm-hmm. This is the path I chose. And I do. People, you said it earlier, what's your fear? It is a fear, but at the same token, we talk about missing life, but it's also a fear that I didn't do everything I possibly could in this limited time on Earth. And it's a constant internal struggle where, you battle that internally, but at the end of the day, the desire to leave a mark always trumps for me. And I can't stop. I can't quit. I'm not going to quit. And you only get smarter when you get older, and that's through battle tested moments. Mm-hmm. It's not because I got a book. It's not because my IQ's high, just because I put myself in so many uncomfortable positions. Yeah. But I'm willing to get uncomfortable.
Because it pays off.
Yeah, I mean, at least I get to say I died trying.
Yeah.
I ain't kidding. When I say that, that's my mentality. I will either succeed or I will die. It's that simple. And if I die doing it, so what?
At least you did.
At least I did it. At least I tried. I can go out like that all day long. I'm not going to go out regretting I didn't try. Nobody can accuse me of that in my life. You can accuse me of a lot of things. You cannot say he didn't put it all on the line. No shot.
Love that. And I mean, I credit you, your mindset, everything. I think this really is going to hit home for a lot of people in the audience, you know, and I truly thank you for that.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure. If I can help anybody, I mean, honestly, I'll tell you work. The way I help people is through my own mistakes.
Yeah.
That is how I help people. Don't do what I did. It ain't replicating what I do. It's let me advise you on what not to do. We got a lot of those. A lot of those. What not to do. Not pay attention to those. That's what you go, oh, Matt just saved me a lot of money there. Yes, I did. Thank me later. You don't understand that right now, but you will one day.
Yeah.
And here I am. But we're going to keep fighting for another day.
Yep. But with that being said, I want to thank you again for coming through. It really means a lot to, especially that busy schedule of yours, to take some time and come talk to me. It means the world.
Never too busy. Anytime.
But with that being said, we're going to end the video today. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to keep out giving great episodes for y'all. Y'all have a great day, night, whatever it is. We're out. Thank you again.
I do. Appreciate it. What I would tell you is we need to record for